Good morning, Dr. Veen. My name is Antonella Name, and this is my final for HRM 699, and my project is on Laguna Grill and Rum Bar. I spoke to the owner a couple weeks ago, Mr. Tony Bruno, and he was excited to get an evaluation of his restaurant. He had been in the industry, the service industry, for, he said, about 40 years. He bought the Laguna Bar about 10 years ago, so back in 2010. They did incur some damage due to Hurricane Sandy, but he's had a lot of successful endeavors throughout his career, so he was able to use insurance money to do renovations and use his own finances to, give the restaurant a nice, upgrade and make it what it was. So I spoke to him about what he thought like the vision would be going forward. I spoke to him about what they're doing right now as far as the COVID-19, and then just things that he was concerned about and how the restaurant ran. So like I said, he's owned it for 10 years. It's been very successful. So there's not a lot of issues he's too concerned about, but he definitely is interested in what I have to say after my evaluation was through and my analysis. So basically what I'm doing for him is creating a business strategy plan. So the first thing I spoke to Mr. Tony Bruno about is his motivation for the restaurant. He's very, family friendly. That's his motivation behind it, is his family, being successful for them, making sure they're good, and he really builds that into the heart of the restaurant. He takes care of his employees. He builds that kind of culture into the restaurant. And, due to that, it's been successful. So basically, for a business strategy, it's an important factor for any business to become and remain successful. Businesses can actually flourish and make a name for themselves at first opening, but eventually operations can take a negative turn. So that's where this business strategy comes into play. So furthermore, I talked to Mr. Bruno about the ethics, how he runs the restaurant. Ethics can be challenging, but he runs a tight ship. He's fair, and he instills that culture in his restaurant. The customers and the employees together take note that the establishment runs with good morals and principles. So because of this, that helps with, getting more people into the restaurant, because when people see that you're running an ethically friendly restaurant, they'll return and they'll talk about it. And that goes furthermore into, the restaurant being socially responsible. And that is a big deal for the restaurant. Not only environmentally friendly, they do what they can. They recycle, they buy green products, so they're doing that part, but they're also really into charity work. The restaurant is actually on an island. The island's about 5 miles. It's Brigantine. It's right outside of Atlantic City, New Jersey. And the restaurant's actually at the end of the island. So what they've become is a hub for a lot of different types of charity events, like 5Ks and this event that's real known to the locals, the Polar Bear Plunge, where right before spring, a lot of the locals will get together and run to the ocean when it's real cold and then run out. But it'll end up as like having a little party afterward, and there's donations made, and it's usually for a charitable event. But they're really known for their 5Ks. They'll start at the restaurant, they'll run, down the island, and then they'll end back at the restaurant. And then that's another thing where Mr. Tony Bruno will be supportive in that, and he'll also, donate, and also offer to cater those type of events. So when it comes to social responsibility, they hit the nail on the head with that. As far as their innovation strategy, the location of the restaurant is great. It's on a beachfront property. The setting is, like a Caribbean, warm type of setting. They serve food and drinks right on the beach. They have an open deck. They have live band. So they're really just covering that whole aspect of like a Caribbean, like luau type restaurant. And they're really well known for catering weddings. So, their restaurant is mentioned on really popular sites like The Knot. That's a popular wedding site that you can set up and register on and, plan out your events. They've even tried to coordinate more events in their off season, so like football, sporting events, stuff like that. So as far as innovation strategy goes, like they're pretty good, looking for different reasons to, expand and, be successful as far as that. Now, when it comes to strategy for people, the restaurant caters to all types of crowds. So the young, old, locals, tourists, they got a little bit for everyone. And as I mentioned, they have an outside deck. They do have live bands. The music's different. So like some nights they'll cater to the older crowd, they'll cater to the younger crowd. They invite local bands from New York, Philadelphia. So as far as that goes, like they've got it covered for the strategy for people. Also, since they are next door to Atlantic City, they network a lot with getting people to come over from the city. As far as like networking with different types of shows, a big one is the boat show. They'll, advertise at the boat show, offer coupons, flyers at the boat show to get people to come over. And I'm going to recommend a little bit more of that networking to take advantage of the city, because the location of Brigantine is very nice, but it's kind of like off the beaten path. So as far as a strategy for people, there's definitely other ways that I'm going to recommend them getting tourists and more customers over from the city to the island. And same thing for the younger crowd, as far as, not just the live bands, but they could, host like different types of clubs. Since it's right on the beach, they could even host like surfing clubs. They could get in with, the esport industry. There's a lot that goes with that. So, moving on to my business plan for Laguna. Basically, I took in all the factors that I saw were lacking, which weren't a lot. And basically, I got the whole full analysis. I did a survey on the customers. I did a survey on the employees, just to get the whole rundown of it all. And, they're really set in a good place. So my first recommendation would be to take advantage of more types of advertising, advertising campaign. They are next to Atlantic City. So Atlantic City advertises with billboards. So they could create a billboard off all the main roads and kind of just like give a little direction of where they are, put in a logo or something on it, like 5 more miles till your destination, your final destination, different things like that. But basically, like, because they're off the beaten path, they need to utilize different types of advertising to kind of show where they are. So the billboards is my first recommendation, but also, nowadays businesses can take advantage of text alerts. They can take advantage of social media. I mean, everyone's on social media, so that's a big one. If they're not on social media, they're missing out on a whole market of customers. So I definitely went into that as far as my recommendations, and kind of gave Mr. Bruno a little more details as far as how he can break into the social media world if he's not where he should be. But the text alerts are great because he can either do a little bit or a lot, offer daily specials, offer discount days, announce happy hours, announce the bands that are coming in. So there's a lot that you can do with text alerts as far as that aspect. Other types of advertising that I think that he could take advantage of, being next to Atlantic City, is networking with the casinos and offering a shuttle service from the casino to the restaurant and vice versa. And even since the restaurant's right on the beach, the customers that are visiting Atlantic City want to go to the beach. So they can go to the beach at his restaurant, have some drinks, stay there for the day, and then utilize the shuttle to get back to their hotel or casino, wherever they're staying. So as far as networking, I think that Mr. Bruno can benefit largely from that, because they're so close to the city. So if they take advantage of different things like that, I feel like he'll be in a better place as far as advertising, and it'll bring in a vast majority that he's missing out on as far as customers. As far as the establishment in a whole, you know, Laguna is a pretty modern, up-to-date establishment. I did read some reviews and asked a couple of customers like any other concerns they may have, and one of the customers did mention that they were cash only outside. So, you know, it's 2020, that's a little inconvenient. The restaurant could definitely benefit by getting credit card readers, and that's not an expensive endeavor to take. So I definitely am going to recommend that to Mr. Bruno, to get a little more techno savvy as far as accepting credit cards, because a lot of people don't carry cash on them nowadays. So that's a big deal. Another thing customers complain about is the prices at the restaurant. One customer said they ordered 2 Long Islands and ended up charging like $25. That's actually pretty reasonable for the area. As far as Atlantic City goes, you know, you are gonna pay about $15 for a drink. So I suggested, you know, extending the happy hour, coming up with different nights where the drinks could be, you know, buy one get one or whatever. But I think Mr. Bruno will be happy with that, you know, just offering a happy hour, especially for the locals that are there a lot more. You know, I think they'll appreciate having a little break as far as drinks go, because no one wants to go out and, you know, just get a drink for them and their spouse and paying $25, and that's not even including the meal. So I understand that. So I think Tony can, you know, just extend the happy hour, and that would be an easy fix for that. Now, the last recommendation is kind of like a newer thing, because all the restaurants in our area kind of have to adjust because of the COVID-19 outbreak. So like they're all losing a lot of money. But as far as that goes, you know, they just have to jump on the bandwagon like everyone else. Like delivery, you know, is a big deal. Free delivery, pickup, basically whatever these restaurants can do to keep up with the social distancing. But it doesn't mean that, you know, has to stop advertising. This is definitely a good time for him to get on social media, advertise, hey, you know, the restaurant's closed for now, but we're here for you, and offer the free delivery and pickup, you know, and discounts and all that, because right now we don't really know what's going to happen with everything going on. So this restaurant could end up being closed even during their peak season. You know, we just don't know what's going to happen. So to adjust fire for that, they have to jump on that and start, you know, offering a delivery service, at least at the minimum, at least to keep the restaurant above water. And then as far as all the employees, Mr. Bruno is like very up on his administrative side. So, you know, they're all on unemployment right now. So as much as it stinks that they're missing out on their tips, at least everyone in the restaurant's taken care of. So that's pretty much it. I did speak with Mr. Tony Bruno a couple times, and I did tell him about my recommendations as far as what he can do to enhance, you know, training his staff a little more, you know, looking into generic strategies, setting up a change management strategy as well. You know, that could help the restaurant sustain in the future if he wanted to expand. But all in all, I think if he just makes these small changes, definitely takes advantage of the social advertising on the social media, and then even, you know, during this time, reach out to his employees and you know, kind of hit more on the human capital side of it. You know, thank them for sticking it out through this, and then ask them to, you know, share the social media pages that he creates and stuff. So to really get him set up for when the restaurant opens back up. And that's pretty much it. You know, I think he's going to be in a good place with all this, and I appreciate your time, and thank you.